What's up guys, are you thinking about becoming a mechanic? Here's 5 things that you should consider before jumping ship at your current job or starting to get yourself into this trade. So I did a video pretty much similar to this about 3 years ago, but I figured I'd do a revamped version of it since this was about when I had like 1,000 subscribers or something like that. It was a long time ago. I got a whole lot of new viewers now. We're about to hit 50K. So I figured I'd do another video on it. I've been a mechanic for 12 years now professionally, and I feel like I got a good understanding of this industry, how it works, the ups and downs of this industry, and just wanted to throw out these 5 useful things that I picked up along the way to help you guys consider if this is something that you want to do, because I get a lot of people asking me like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm in the nursing field, or I'm in IT right now and I want to become a mechanic. And I just want to prevent anyone from getting into this industry for the wrong reasons. Like any other career path, it has its ups and downs, but this is what I've learned so far in my experience. In case you missed my last video, I'm giving away this $550 bi-directional scan tool that does a whole lot of cool stuff. Go watch my last video if you want to enter. Last day to enter to win this thing is November 4th, so you guys got about a week. So first thing I want to point out is it takes time to make good money in this career. Like anything, if you have no experience doing this job, being a mechanic, you're gonna have to start at the bottom. It doesn't matter, even if you went to school. I went to a community college, had ASC certifications, started at a dealership. They're not gonna hire you as a line flat rate technician off the bat. At the dealership at least, doesn't matter what schooling you have, certifications, you're starting on the lube rack, changing oil, you're probably gonna make minimum wage or a couple of dollars above minimum wage. And it could take anywhere from 3 months to 3 years sometimes, depending where you're working, to move up onto the line and make that double minimum wage and be a flat rate tech. So that's one big thing to consider, especially a lot of people, if they're changing career paths. You're already making this certain amount of money, $60,000 a year, $80,000 a year, and jump into being a mechanic, you're gonna have to take a pay cut and start out making like $30,000 to $40,000 a year on minimum wage. And there's no guarantee on when you're gonna move up to actually make those big bucks. So that's just one thing to consider, and it does suck because it's like, when I went to school, I was like, oh man, I know all this stuff. Like, I took apart an engine, I took apart a transmission, like I know how to wrench. And then in reality, if you just went to school and that's the only experience you have, you really don't know how to wrench yet. You learn how to wrench in the real world, and that's why dealerships will start you at the bottom, because they know that. So it's just one thing to keep in mind. Just because you went to school doesn't mean that you're gonna come out making big bucks. So you got to be willing to invest that time to, okay, I'm gonna make a little bit of money, but in the end you got to look at it like it's gonna pay off. Like, I'm gonna make decent or good money as long as I just put in my time in the beginning. Just want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Status Audio. What is Status Audio? Status Audio sent me their 3A-NC Bluetooth wireless earbuds. What makes these so special, apart from other Bluetooth headphones? They got a great active noise canceling feature when you want to get in the zone with your music, or if you still want to hear your surroundings, you can turn noise canceling off and still actually hear what's going on around you with the tap of a button. They got up to 12 hours of battery life with noise canceling off, 36 hours of charge in the portable case, giving you up to 48 hours of playback on the go. They got a nice triple driver system, one for the bass, one for the mids, and one for the highs. Not only do they sound good, but you also get this cool little free app where you can go in there and set your settings, customize your equalizer, just fine tune the sounds that you want to hear, as well as see stuff like the battery life, check the status of your headphones, which is really cool. If you're someone like me who takes their audio quality seriously, I'd highly recommend checking them out. I'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as a 10% off coupon if you guys feel like checking them out. So without further ado, let's get back to today's video. Next thing to consider is you have to buy all your own tools and toolbox. Pretty much, like I'd say like 90% of places you're gonna work at do not supply tools for their technicians. So that's another big thing to think about, because I myself, talking about maybe like my toolbox, my tool cart, all the tools I have in it. And I guess I'd probably include the tools I have at home in my boxes at home. I'm probably, I can't say like, because I haven't kept track of course, but I want to say like I'm around like $25,000 to $30,000 deep into how much money I spent on tools in my lifetime. And that's kind of like a crappy thing I feel like about this industry, is because there's not that many other industries where you have to buy all this stuff and have all this stuff and be expected to have all this stuff versus like your work supplying this stuff for you to do the job. So that's one thing you have to think about, is you have to invest in these tools yourself. Nobody's gonna buy them for you. Tools are expensive and it never ends. I feel like there's always something else I need or want to buy, and it ends up kind of sometimes turning into an addiction. But yeah, guys, tools is a big thing. You gotta buy your own tools, and tools aren't cheap, and that leads back to the next point. When you're not making that much money, it's hard to invest in tools also, but you need to have a nice set of, or a decent set of tools and a toolbox if you wanna move up and be on the line, because if you go flat rate or you go to any shop or you're working on your own, you need to already have your own toolbox and you need to have your own tools. You shouldn't be going into a place expecting like your work to supply you with tools to complete the job. With being a mechanic, you need to have your own tools. Although I do have a lot of tools now, I have built them up over the years though. So I guess one thing to think about too is it's not like you have to buy every single tool right off the bat and go into huge debt. It's like you kind of start off small. You buy a little box, you buy the basic stuff you need, sockets, screwdrivers, ratchets. Maybe the next year you upgrade, get some power tools, and you just kind of slowly build up your tool collection. I don't think anyone's really just spending like 20 grand on tools right off the bat. If you are, that's crazy, but just something to think about, guys, is you got to buy your own tools. Tools can get very expensive, and sometimes it just never ends. There's always another tool you're going to end up buying. Next thing I got is it's pretty physically demanding. I mean, obviously it's a blue collar job, being a mechanic. It's labor intensive. You're on your feet pretty much all day. You're not sitting down too often. Hardly are you sitting in a climate controlled area. So if it's hot outside, it's hotter in the garage typically. If it's cold outside, it's usually freezing in the garage. You're bent over the hood very often working on a vehicle. So you're gonna start getting some lower back pain. You're kind of under some awkward angles sometimes. If you're tall like me, usually the lifts don't lift the vehicle high enough. So I'm kind of always like, just at like a weird angle, and it kind of sucks a lot of the times. Or say you're doing some interior work, say you're like underneath a dashboard, you'll sometimes literally be like, God damn. Sorry, I'm still sick, but you'll literally be at some weird angles sometimes. You'll have to have like your hand bent 5 different directions trying to screw a nut on or loosen a bolt by hand because you can't get a socket in there and you're trying to get like the wrench on it. You'll be in some tricky situations, and just want to remind you that it's very physically demanding because this is a job that requires you to be on your feet and be doing such and such, lifting heavy objects. And not only that, you're exposed to a lot of toxic chemicals. I mean, brake dust, it's horrible for your health. Brake cleaner, horrible for your health. All of these vapors you're breathing in and chemicals all day. I mean, we're all gonna die eventually, but I don't think all this stuff we're inhaling as mechanics on a day-to-day is helping us. Just something to think about. I've had days sometimes where I go home and I don't even feel like I work. My body feels fine, but I've had days where work has just kicked my ass, and like I get off work, my back hurts, like my feet hurt. I got like a weird pain in my wrist or my elbow, or like I move my shoulder the wrong way. So sometimes this job can really beat you up. Working on light duty vehicles, at least, I feel like it's a little bit easier on your body. Now I'm working on a lot more heavy equipment and diesels, and I've realized that this stuff is super heavy. And I feel like heavy equipment diesel definitely tears your body up faster than automotive light duty vehicles. But just something to think about is this job is physically demanding. The next tip I got is I feel like mechanics are generally underappreciated and kind of treated like, I like to say, the redheaded stepchild of whatever business you're in. when I was working at the dealership, it's like you have your service writers, those guys are getting all the praise, and all the customers are giving them like cookies and alcohol during Christmas, like, oh, thank you so much. And then the mechanic's just back there, the guy who's actually doing the work, and doesn't really get any gratitude or appreciation like that typically. And it's kind of messed up because it's like the mechanic's the one doing the work, busting his ass. He's the one who's invested all this money into all these tools, but still in the general eye, it's like the mechanic's just like that dirty guy in the back who's fixing my car. Usually there's not much love for the mechanics, and it's kind of messed up. And another thing that goes with that, it's like anything that goes wrong, it's like it's always your fault. It's like, say you put in a part and maybe the part was defective. A customer brings back their car, they're all pissed off, service manager's mad at you, the service writer's mad at you, like, why'd you mess this car up, this customer's pissed. And it's like, dude, it's not even like your fault. And then not to mention that, it's like you could do a very complex job that requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill. It's like you just did this crazy ass job, and then you forgot one little thing. Maybe you got like dirt on inside the vehicle somewhere, or like you got the door handle, a little grease on it, like something that small like that. And it's like automatically, it's like, dude, you fucked up. Like, what the fuck? And it's like, really, dude? Like, it's just messed up. Cause it's like, wow, dude, I just did all this work for this customer. I probably did it way faster than I had to do it. And it's like, you're gonna bitch at me for like this little grease stain that maybe I didn't even do. Maybe I did do, but it's like, dude. Yeah, I just feel like that comes with being a mechanic. It's always your fault, and it's pretty messed up. Very underappreciated career for sure. And the last thing I got is working. Say you have a passion for cars, a passion for wrenching. Working your passion for a career really kind of turns or kills your passion and turns your passion into a chore. I could say this from firsthand experience. When I first started, like I was like 19, 20 years old, and I was just in love with cars. Like, I started working at the dealership. I would work at the dealership all day after work. I would get off work, go home, and I'd go home and work on my own cars. I'd try and do side jobs. I just always wanted a wrench. And I noticed slowly over the years, I wanted to wrench less at home. The older I got and the more time I've done in this industry. And now being about like 12 years in, when I get off work and I'm at home or like before work, I really don't want to wrench. Like, people hit me up sometimes if I want to help them work on their car, and now I'm kind of like, nah, because it's more like a chore to me since I do it all day. But yeah, I know everyone's different. I know some people they still love wrenching. They'll go home and wrench, do side jobs. They'll do this stuff on the weekends, like 24/7 around the clock, just always wrenching. I mean, those people, I would say they just really do have that passion for wrenching or making money on the side, stuff like that. But I feel like for a majority, most mechanics that I've met at the dealership, it's like when they get off work, they're not trying to wrench, because it's like, dude, I've been working on cars all day. When I go home, the last thing I want to do is work on a car. So just something to consider. Anytime you turn your passion into a career or work, it starts killing that passion slowly, at least in my opinion. But that's all I got for you guys for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to enter that scan tool giveaway if you made it this far to the video, but if not, you're good. Have a nice weekend, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace!